Hello and welcome back to the Film School Chronicle. Now I know what you're thinking. Where's Bryce? Why isn't he doing the intro? We like Bryce. Well, it's my turn this morning. So, hi, I'm Carmelo Keating. Welcome back to the Film School Chronicle. Today we are joined by the producer and director of To Wake From One's Own, the second graduation slate film from Griffith that we're having on. So we have Kim Hansen, how are you this morning?
Oh, fantastic.
And Bridget Shapter, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Bryce. Bryce, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Carmelo. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. Cool. So, Kim and Bridget, over to you. Tell us about To Wake From One's Own.
So, I'll go. Okay. To Wake From One's Own is the story about a father and daughter. So our young protagonist Harper, she interviews her father about his recent cancer diagnosis, and during the interview he reveals to her that he wants to die alone, which she doesn't realise, and they have this kind of disagreement and discussion about his end-of-life care and how it'll play out for their family, and it kind of like is a bit of a gentler look at this kind of side of cancer that people don't necessarily talk about, I guess. It's a bit of a conversation that I've had before that I think is a bit unusual that, I want to explore.
Yeah, it's always hard to talk about this kind of stuff too, because I think you have the two ways to come to it. Of for me coming onto this project, it's like I can do the honest approach or I can do the deep approach. The honest approach was there were no other projects that didn't have a producer. There was two that came through in the slates that didn't have producers because mine dropped out like a week and a half before we were meant to pitch. And the truthful, that's the truth. And then the honest approach is, it is also something that I think does need to be spoken about. Like it's a topic that I'm always surprised how many people have dealt with, like having to deal with death in families and that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's personal to both of us on like a proper cancer level. Which
Absolutely,
is
because my brother passed away of cancer like many years ago. So it's something that I've also had to deal with as well. So
yeah.
No, you hear the statistics all the time.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
It's like,
Exactly.
one in ever how many people get cancer and everything.
Yeah.
But it's another thing to really grapple with it yourself and have it be in your personal life. Because I know I haven't. I know people who have had, melanoma cut out and all that kind of thing, but no one who's like died from it or anything. So it's interesting to hear from this perspective.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's funny as well because some people can be like so touchy about it, but I think for both of us it's like we can be pretty open about it.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
Can talk about it in this
people
kind of
always
way,
do the
explore
like,
it.
we're so sorry, and it's like it's fine. It was years ago. Like,
exactly.
It's sad. Like, of course, it's sad, and I miss my brother very much, but at the same time, it's been a long time. You know, you do have to approach it in that lighter way. Otherwise, you'd go mad.
Otherwise, it's always going to be like a taboo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I always find talking about death from my personal experience to be quite strange. My parents are funeral directors.
Oh,
and
wow.
So my entire life, like death has just, been a part of it.
Exactly.
So it's,
Yeah.
True, that's so interesting.
You do have it is interesting. We had this discussion actually the other day about the difference between people that have dealt with it and the people that haven't, and how the people that haven't dealt with it, it is like that kind of taboo. You don't want to...
Oh shit, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Do I even speak to you?
Exactly.
Like, do I have to like hide my face?
Is it on eggshells kind of thing?
Yeah.
Then you speak to people that have dealt with death directly, and they're kind of just like, woo, yeah. Like, it's unfortunate.
You're part of a club.
Exactly.
So Bridget, did you write the script?
Yeah, I
Okay,
wrote
right.
it late last year, so like November last year, going into like the development course that Griffith runs. So yeah, it was kind of like an interesting time. Over
And did you have any help developing it for this project, or is it all just yours?
No, I kind of went through the development course like pretty solo. A lot of people like got producers pretty like quickly, but I just kind of went through it thinking I'd get one like eventually, and then now I just kind of developed it all by myself. But no, it was solitary. It was nice.
Now, Bridget, we've worked together. Not that the audience would know that, but on In The Suburbs, a production that you directed last year, which was also a personal story, if I believe. Yeah,
it was. I wrote that one as well, and it was kind of like dealing with like this topic a little bit in a slightly like different way, but it's about two teenagers who, on like a really pre-dawn walk after they've done MDMA for the first time, they're kind of coming down and they have this very vulnerable and kind of intimate chat about like their futures when they graduate high school and what they're going to do and like the kind of splitting paths that they're going on. And it kind of deals with the death of one of the character's fathers and then the sister of like the other character. So yeah, it's a little bit of a based in truth, but I'm not going to go too much into that.
Yeah. So, but you've got a lot of experience telling personal stories. Now, as only a second year film student, I'm still finding it quite difficult to sort of write personal stories and then have to put that out there and pour your soul out for the university to see, and then for that to be made into a film and for the story to be changed over time, and then ultimately for someone to mark that and someone to mark your personal story. How do you go about dealing with that sort of thing?
It's interesting. Like, it's definitely difficult. I think the biggest thing is like the first time I was lucky enough, my close friend from high school and like my DOP who I work with for In The Suburbs and for this one as well, I would just give it to her and be like, what do you think? Like, look it over, tell me what you think. And then she'd be like, yeah, it's good. And then that was kind of like a reassurance. And I'd send it to all my friends and just like, for edits, but also just for the sake of like, is this something that is worth telling and that is decent? And then after that, the first hurdle is like giving it to a supervisor or like sending it in somewhere, because you can just blindly send it. Yeah. But like when a supervisor comes back and they're like, so let's talk about it. I'm like, oh, do we have to? Like, I can just be away for this conversation. But I think it's because it becomes like something so different to like the first initial story that you came up with. Like, it goes into so many different hands of the crew members and like teaching staff, and it just gets, completely spread across 20, 30 people. It changes so much. Like, it doesn't really feel that personal anymore because
everyone takes something different from it.
Exactly. Yeah. You do first screenings of like really terrible POCs and everything, and then it just becomes like, okay, this isn't something I need to be like particularly nervous about in the sense of it being really personal.
Yeah, I think it goes from being your story to the crew's, like ours as a whole, because of the fact that everyone relates to it differently. Like, even speaking, we had auditions last week and all of the actors pulled something different out of the script that they related to, be it the relationship with their dads or the humour or the cancer kind of thing. So it's like everyone has something in it that they're like, oh, I feel that. I can relate to that. So then it does become a kind of communal entity. It's our script at that point. It's our story that we're telling, like, all of us together. So
yeah, exactly.
And even further than that, when you screen it to an audience, it becomes audience's story.
Exactly, yeah. And that's just, it keeps spreading, and everyone like you do with every movie, everyone takes something different out of it. So it is kind of just
it is nerve-wracking though. I remember last year, like, you do the screening of your final, like your second year thing, and you're just in the room with the panel, and they just go, okay, here's what we think about it, like straight away after you finish screening it. And I'm like, oh my god, can I have like 2 seconds to process what happened? But like sitting in that room, because a lot of people haven't seen the finished project yet, like
I haven't even seen it.
Cool. But like, Carmelo, you wouldn't have seen it, and you were on it.
I didn't go to the screenings.
That's fair.
Yeah. Like, people haven't seen it, so then they come into this room and they watch it, and you're like, oh god, do they hate it? Like, do they hate the edit? Right. Like, is it what they didn't imagine? And everything?
And your cohort's going to be probably the most judgmental
exactly
out of everyone.
They're like, oh, you guys had so much time and resources,
exactly,
and
everyone that knows you personally, kind of thing. Everyone has a say about like you as a person, so they take that into the movie. They'll be like, oh, this is whatever because of that.
Luckily, both of us were received really well last year, so that was really positive.
Switching gears for a second, I want to ask producer to producer, where are you right now in To Wake From One's Own?
God. So I have completely overextended myself this year as a third year student. It was a terrible decision. I'm not only producing this, I'm producing Professional Practice, which we just wrapped yesterday on. I'm also doing Asia Pacific and screen producing at the same time, and I'm class agent. So we're lucky in the sense, and we've had these conversations of that, To Wake From One's Own is a much simpler script than a lot of the ones that were slated. So we have 2 actors, 1 location.
Right.
So
only like 3 explosions.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
We've cut the sex scene. So it's a very simple script in terms of like organizing stuff, and our crew is also very small. We've only got 20 people. So it's kind of, when I was talking to Sean, who's our supervisor, about it, he was like, are you worried about it? I'm like, no, because in terms of the production and the crew and that, I've worked with everyone before, and I know everyone can handle it, and everyone, if I say, hey, can you do this stuff, they'll do it. They might do it a bit slower than like I would like, but they'll do it. So it's kind of like, I don't have any worries of being like, hey, if I say I'm going to tap out for a few days, can you guys do this? They'll get it done. So we've got locations, all the risk assessments and that are done. I don't know if Sean's seen them. They're like done.
They're waiting in his inbox.
Exactly. They're like in the drive. They're completed. So yeah, we're just kind of cruising now. We're
hitting all the marks that we need to for the moment.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It is, like I said, it's just such a simple production in terms of some of the others that have gone through with explosions and stuff and 15 actors and that sort of stuff. So it's kind of like, I know that even if it is a little bit behind or whatever, it's not going to be as hard to make up as if it was like a huge thing. But the biggest thing we were worried about was the location, and we've got one now. So it's like now we can kind of just smooth sailing towards POC. Yeah.
I think the best thing for us, like, we can have that base of like everything's sorted on like a base level. Yeah. And then we go, okay, how can we make it like, how can we evolve it to make it better? So like, how can we change all the blocking? How can we change the cinematography, the sound design, the edit? Like, how can we just build up onto it to make it really amazing?
Yeah.
Right. So you come at it from that like more simple standpoint.
Definitely.
And then it's like, okay, we've got this simple thing that works, it's competent, and then from there we can elevate it to be something
100%.
really good.
Bring it to the base level and then like make it like as simple as possible, but then really like build onto it. And the other thing is that like we've been having chats with Sean and like, how do we, you know, make it the best thing possible? And he's like, take it to the extreme. Do whatever you want. Like, go crazy with it. And then reel it back. And like we've been kind of doing that, just going like, let's go crazy with like a really random shot or like something really weird happens in the edit maybe. And then we break it back and we can just like...
Just quickly on that. We'll leave his last name out of it, but Sean is a tutor at Griffith.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, his last name, I mean.
Yes.
But anyway.
Sweet.
His
so...
MBN and all of his passports.
Here's his credit card. I actually took a photo.
So Bridget, we worked here last year on a film that had like 4-5 locations and how's the stress level now of just having to deal with one compared to last year?
So easy. So easy. Last year actually wasn't that bad though, because the best thing about it was all like public space. Like it was all just us, the council, if we can use it. It's not... We didn't have to pay a location.
Exactly.
We didn't have to barter any times or anything. It was just like, you can have it for a day. So we would just film in outdoor locations and it was great. But this one, it's like, we just were like, okay, 6 days, we'll just book an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And we'll just like...
It's up in the mountains. We're going to go stay there. It's going to be a staycation. Yeah. Bridget and I are going to have a producer-director retreat.
While we're after the gear.
Exactly. No, but in the Brisbane City Council, they want you to succeed when shooting student films, so they're super great to work with too. So I'm sure you guys probably had, because we had to use them last year as well, and they were just like, they're the loveliest
they're
people.
So
they're like, here's my mobile number, give me a call, like we'll get it through for you.
My producer last year was so lovely, and she like got to know the liaison.
Oh yeah,
she was
I did
like
as well.
First name basis with him. She'd just call him up and be like, can we just use the space? And
I did the same. Yeah.
It's so chill.
They're very nice.
Yeah, no, I've dealt with Brisbane City Council before, just for one like simple thing for the TV project last year, and just getting a park or something. But that was they're very helpful with that sort
they're
of thing.
so helpful. They're very kind, and they were always like going out of their way to make sure you do get what you want through.
Yeah, exactly. That's so great. Love the council.
So you're in third year. The future's looming, of course. You know, graduation's right around the corner. I want to go onto that in just a second, but I just wanted to touch on something. Bryce and I are about to embark on our first sort of real producing, directing sort of thing. It feels very real to me.
It feels real to me, yeah.
Compared to just,
very real.
Compared to just shooting like 3-minute scenes for a personal assessment or something like that. Do you have any advice for us, producer and director to producer and director?
I always say that the thing you always, and it's like one of those really cliche things, is you've got to communicate. You've got to talk to each other, but you can't do it in that like surface level, like just doing the work kind of way. The every issue I've ever had as a producer on set is because my director and I weren't on the same page, because we didn't come in on the same level. So we would like have these issues that I thought I had communicated but they had not. So that then created, grief or whatever. I think everyone had issues on drama productions last year. It was
holding back.
Yeah, it was like everyone. It felt actually quite good. I was talking to some of the other third years this year, and everyone has been saying, "Oh no, drama production sucked." And I'm like, "Oh, thank God! I thought it was just me."
Yeah, no,
like,
train wreck all over.
Having that surface, like actually having conversations with the person you're working, because you're partners. This is like a team thing, and having that honesty, and not even in the sense of just like, the overall stuff, but the nitty gritty stuff, like being able to, like, I've been able to go to Bridget and say, like, hey, you know, my mental health's in the shitter right now. This is what's going on. Sad but true.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'll just figure some stuff
exactly
out.
Like being able to talk, and it's being able to make, and that's something that we also think is very important in the sense of the honesty. And I've been very honest then with the crew too, and that's the next big thing. Was last year on the production that I was on, we had some issues because things would be communicated in the Hodge channel but then never told to the crew. And so then we would get to set and the crew would be like, what are we doing? And you're like, oh shit, no one told you.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Exactly, yeah, just that honesty and that communication. And then this year I've definitely made sure to have that honesty extend to supervisors, to crew, and all that sort of stuff. And you guys probably kind of heard us talking about it before, but it is like, I am in the process of being diagnosed anxiety and depression. So next week I'm starting meds, and it's like being able to talk to my crew and talk to Bridget and say, look, I'm going to be tapped out for probably a week or two while I adjust to being on medication, and that's fine. And they've just gone, cool, chill, let us know what's happening. And the supervisors have been fantastic and just been like, what can we do to help you? And making sure you do keep that honest line of communication and say, hey, I'm not doing well, like this is what's happening for me right now as a person. How, and everyone in the crew has been like, how can we help, what can we do? And keeping that like open channel of communication, I think, is already completely changed this production compared to some of the others I've been on, because I feel like I can do that and be like, hey, yo, exactly, I'm not doing great right now. Exactly. Like this is what we're and everyone. It's like that's the biggest thing I always say.
That's really interesting to hear, because I saw going into uni they had all these support networks and everything. They're like, hey, you can come to this, like the uni counselor, you can do this and this for support. But it's interesting to hear your side of it, because you're making use of those facilities, and it's really good to hear that it works and you feel safe.
Exactly, you know? I have told so many people, like I'll be talking to someone and they'll be like, I'm doing real bad. I'm like, have you been to the counsellors? They're fantastic.
You said that to me. You're like, the Nathan counsellors, like,
I'm
great.
like, the Nathan counsellors are sick. Like, hell yeah, I'm going to the Griffith psychologist next week. And making use of those things, because they're there and they're free.
Right.
Like, I keep telling people, I'm like, if you're struggling, please speak to someone about it. But also, even in that note, one of the biggest advice I can give, like, as a student, is have honesty with your teachers. They will respect you so much more. Like, I emailed a couple of the teachers and was like, hey, I'm doing this is what's happening for me right now. Extensions, they're offering to help me in any way that they can, and they don't need that official channel. They just want you to be honest with them.
Right.
So, but yeah, like I've told so many people, someone will be like, I'm doing badly. I'm like, have you been to the counsellors at Griffith? They're very good. They're very nice.
Yeah. I think on a different level as well, because they're all creatives. Like, there's kind of a sense that they just get, like, there's a creative struggle, there's the mental health that comes with it. Exactly, the tortured artist or whatever. But on a different level, like, they really do
Please
understand,
see a therapist.
You know, you really need it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be tortured to make good stuff.
Exactly. Like, please talk to someone.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that's like the biggest advice I always give to everyone. I'm like, please just be honest with people. Like, tell them the truth. If you're struggling, don't pretend it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. That big stupid saying of it's okay to not be okay. But it's
real.
It's true. It is true. And I've had, because of that and because of the honesty, that's the reason I do have such a good relationship with the supervisors and that, because from the second year I've been like, hey, I'm not doing well. Like, what can you do for me? How can you help me out? And they respect that. They've told me so many times. They're like, we love that you're honest with us about where you're at. It's like,
cool. Because I know if you dip off for like 2 weeks,
exactly.
They're like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think if I didn't get an email from any of them, if they didn't receive an email from me, they'd be like, where is this? Where is she? She hasn't contacted us for 2 days.
Okay, so from Kim, we've got communication and mental health. Take care of yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have any directing advice from Bridget?
Kind of building off that a little bit. Treat film school, I don't know about like uni in general, but film school, treat it like a workplace. Like, really make everyone like your colleague. And even though you make friends with everyone, treat them as like work friends for production's sake as well. Yeah. So like when you're on set and doing things, nothing is personal. Like, it's all just...
It may feel like it.
But when you wrap, it won't be. Just treating everything like it's your job and you're going into it like really seriously.
Absolutely.
And you're like, there are stakes to what's going to happen today. Yeah. Don't be nervous about that, but like, you know, the sake of a film is riding on that. So that's kind of like a piece of advice I would give just in general. For directing, like actually being on set, keep a really cool head. Like, just try and be as objective as possible and like overviewing everything, and just like really rely on people, like particularly producer or like first AD. Just be like, I need
don't
you to
take
just
on
sort something out.
Yeah, don't
Can you
take
just, like,
everything
do it?
on.
Yeah,
take
exactly.
everything on. Like, you have a crew there for a reason. That's what
Like,
they're there for.
Last year, I spent most of the time just talking to my actors, like staying with them, talking to them like in between takes, and just like chatting to them about the scene or just about anything, because you're there to like be there, support through everything and their guide through this whole scene and the whole film and everything. So I was with them pretty much the whole time, and I'd be like, hey, first AD, can you just like deal with something that's happening at like corner of my eye? Like I just can see it going on. So just give those things off. And just,
you do have to have those relations. Well, we had that last year on Drama Prod, like, because when you're a producer on set, you don't really have a lot to do. Like, you kind of like, by the time, because you're the one that's like organized everything, by the time you get to set, you kind of just sit around.
For context, last year
you were first AD
for
on
the Where Would You Be that Kim was producing.
And so every so often I would be like laying we were at a shooting at an old cinema, and I would be like laying in the booths just staring at the ceiling, because there was not much to do. And I would hear Bridget like walking over to be like, can you like come and deal with this like situation, because I'm the big scary producer, so I'm able to stand out there with my arms crossed and yell at people, and they will,
you have final say. And I'm like,
exactly
Kim.
Exactly. I'd hear this little like pap, and it would be Bridget going, can you just come and check this for me?
Yeah, the council's saying something weird.
Yeah. So
no, definitely just like rely on everyone in your crew, because they're there to be there for
that's
you
what their
and
job
help you
is,
out.
to help you out. Don't like try to take it all on, and then you're gonna burn out before you can get there.
All right, well, we're getting towards the end of the show. Where can we plug your movie? Do you have any social media accounts?
We will.
Oh, we will. Okay.
We will soon.
Yep.
Coming soon.
My Instagram is probably the best like launching pad for when we do get it up, which is just my name, Bridget Shapter. But yeah, we will have something soon. My sister's doing our graphic design, which is really exciting, because she's using like a lot of my dad's old photography and like going like really, really minimal with the style. So it's exciting. So it'll be launched next week. I'm going to say that right now, and it'll happen.
All right. Sweet.
Yeah,
hold her to that.
Yeah.
And just before we close, graduation's right around the corner. Do you guys have any plans currently, or any maybe production companies, that smaller ones that you're working with, or teams that the listeners should know about?
No, well, I admittedly, with everything that happened at the start of the year, I had with the beginnings of plans to have a production company graduating, but that kind of fell apart, as they do sometimes. Sometimes that happens, and it doesn't happen anymore. So yeah.
I'll preface this: we're model students. I have nothing going on this year. I'm just gonna like do a little bit of freelance stuff, I'm thinking, because I've got like a group of friends, and I'm like, we're all gonna finish at the same time, we're all gonna be on the same page with what we want to make and what we want to do next year. So like a couple of music videos, maybe try and do some TVCs together, just funding it ourselves and going absolutely broke next year. But we'll kind of see what happens.
Rightio, well, that just about brings us to the end of the show, so I want to thank you again, Kim and Bridget, for coming on. It's been lovely having you. Bryce, thank you very much. Awesome job as always, and thank you very much for listening and watching. We will see you next week.